Okay, y'all, if y'all hear an overload of noise, I have a husband who's playing video games right now. And I have dogs that just aren't very happy. Well, they're happy, but they're just kind of fighting. Hello, sunshines. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new, my name is Natalie, and welcome back to Batari Vlogs. If you can't tell by the title today, I'm doing my December wrap-up along with my January TBR. I'm giving you a heads up. This next year is going to be a crazy year. We will be PCSing in July. I'm going to say it's July. We are moving all the way across the country. So that's definitely a larger move. And then on top of that, it's just lots of things going on. So with like PCS, I'm starting my undergrad program for my healthcare administration. Just like I said, multiple things. They're going to make it maybe like a little bit harder to read, but I still want to read because I just love reading. But this month of December, I did get to read, I think it was 7 books, 6 or 7 books, and a lot of them were holiday theme. So I was very happy about that. I started some new books. I've got books on my TBR list, new release books that I'm super excited to order, and just so many things. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into this. Now, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, that notification bell to be notified when I post these videos. This video is going up on December 31st because I figured it'd be a great video to have before the new year, but I like to keep my uploads on Mondays. So starting with my December wrap-up, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. 4 of 6 are Christmas books. Most all of them are love stories. So we are going to start with One Day in December by Josie Silver. I'm opening up my Goodreads right now in case you are wondering what I'm looking at. So I rated One Day in December a 4 out of 5 stars. I honestly would give it like a 4.25 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. The review I wrote was I really enjoyed it. I loved that it followed along on Lori's love life in every aspect of it from the beginning to end. It portrayed Lori and Jack's side. I'm a big fan of seeing 2 sides of a story, so you kind of get an idea of how one person is feeling and how the other person is feeling while it's all kind of like happening at the same time. It's intertwining, intermeshing, however you want to call it. But I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I had it on my shelf for maybe like a year and a half. I was waiting for the perfect time to start it. And Christmas was literally the perfect time to start it because it was based in December. We follow them over 10 years and see Lori, Jack, and Sarah and their love triangle, how life changes, marriages, divorces, breakups, new jobs, moving across the country. But One Day in December was definitely great. I know Josie Silver has a book called The 2 Lives of Lydia Bird, and I'm really hoping I can read that soon. But for now, that is book number 1. The second book I read was Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. I'm going to be very honest with you. I've never read a Tessa Bailey book before. I've seen them all over Book Talk, all over the place. Read Tessa Bailey, read Tessa Bailey, read Tessa Bailey. And I finally got it because I was looking up kind of like holiday reads, and I saw that Tessa Bailey was up there. Window Shopping was up on like 5 different videos. So I'm like, if it's on 5 different videos, maybe this is a sign that I should be reading it. When I tell you, Tessa Bailey was like one of the first smutty books I have read since a little bit of Into Holidays, which it's been a while since I've read Into Holidays. We'll touch base on that in a bit. But I gave it a 4 stars. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. It was one of those books that I read, I put down, I went back to it later, put it back down, picked it up, put it back down, all of that. Like I said, 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. When I started getting further into the book, the more smutty it got. I'm a big romance gal. I have my whole like Nicholas Sparks corner behind me, so I love my romance books. But I did say I enjoyed the book. I went in with the expectation that it was just this absolutely amazing book from how many TikTok books and videos recommended it. I like seeing the evolution of Stella and Aiden's relationship. We are introduced to Stella when she is at the window, and it has this cute little poem in the back of the book. It has a really cute little poem about her being introduced to Aiden, and she's critiquing the store window at Vivint and finds out that he's the owner. She gets a job. We see the relationship flourish, and it's one of those from the beginning. There's an attraction, and it grows and flourishes, and we think that's gonna fall apart, but you gotta read it. And it was spicy. Like I said, I am new to the spice category, to the smut category, so I gave it like a 3 out of 5. I'm sure there's more. But it was so good. I think the writing style of Tessa Bailey was like really great. I loved seeing the romance aspect of it, and I really just enjoyed reading the book. It definitely is one that I will come back to next year, and it was a very like thin book. I think it was like 230 pages, which was one of my smaller books that I read this year. The third book I read is Always in December by Emily Stone. If I could, I would give this one 5 stars. It was one of the ones that was a longer book. I was really like going up on the reading, and then I was slumping and up. It was kind of like a high and low slope, like when you're learning math, I guess. But I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And my review literally said, I freaking love this book. Like, I loved it. I thought it was such a great book. I finished like half of it in a day. So my review says, this honestly brought tears to my eyes and warmed yet broke my heart all at the same time. Seeing how Josie copes with her loss of her parents, because we're introduced to Josie, who every December is writing letters to her parents who died in a car accident when she was very, very young. So we're introduced to her, how she copes with her parents, her family dynamic with her grandparents, her sisters, her friends. But not only are we seeing that, we're seeing in the time frame where she's sending that letter where she runs into Max. And at the same time, we learn it's kind of like Max is this mystery man. We don't know who he is, we don't know where he's from, we don't know where he works, we don't know where he's going, where he's come from, all of that. But we see he's coping with something as well. And I'm not going to spoil it, but literally the last 2 chapters absolutely broke my heart. I did not cry. I could feel my heart breaking for Josie and Max and the family and everything else. But it truly was such an amazing book to see. It's kind of like they're trying to be friends, and she had an ex, and they're like kind of faking a relationship, and it really is great because you see their love go from fake friendship or fake relationship to real relationship to no relationship to longing for a relationship to, it's just a lot. But it was a really, really great book. This is not a Christmas book, but I saw it, I came, I conquered, and I got it done in one day. And I have the whole reading vlog that you guys should go watch. I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Thank you, Haley fam, for recommending this. This was a 5-star for me. I am a hopeless romantic. I grew up watching romance movies. We were literally in Charleston, and I was like, I want to go see where The Notebook was filmed. Did not get to do that. And y'all, I'm just reading you my reviews straight from GoodNotes. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Like, this book was amazing. Like, the first words pretty much sum it up. It lived up to the hype. I loved seeing Liz and just her hopeless romantic self, how she lived for the rom-com, she lived for the perfect moment, which is like how I was. I lived for the romance and all of those things growing up, and she lives for it because that's her last connection to her mother who passed away. Something about parents passing away get me going. If you see me scooting back, that's because my back is killing me. Her mom passed away, and really one of her last connections that she had with her mom would be, you know, romance movies. And, you know, she ends up falling in love with a guy. His name is Michael, I want to say it is. And she's like, you know, Wes, you are the neighbor. You are friends with Michael. I need your help. So they start fake dating in hopes that Michael would just automatically fall in love with her, ask her to prom, this, that, and the other. And some things don't really work out in her favor. But we see just how this love story kind of portrays itself. It really is cool. It gives me a lot of vibes from like The Duff and just a few other things. If I went back and watched my review on it, I'm pretty sure I could tell you. But I really love this book. Lynn Painter did such an amazing job writing it. I think it was like 360 pages. I read it, and like from the time I started to the time I finished, the active time I was reading, maybe 3.5 hours. So it was a very easy read in the aspect of the literature and how it was written, but it was also very easy because I enjoyed it thoroughly. And like I said, this is a 5-star book for me, so I'm really hoping I can get The Do-Over soon by Lynn Painter. Just continue my little Lynn Painter shelf. This next book was an unexpected read. I did not expect to read it. I saw it all over the place, and I'm like, maybe, maybe not. But I started reading the synopsis, and I'm like, I've got to read it. I read 'Tis the Season for Revenge. I've rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. It really could be a 4 out of 5 stars. I was reading the synopsis, and as soon as I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is Legally Blonde vibes. Like, you're kidding me, right? Girl, blonde, pink, loves pink. I love pink, don't get me wrong, I'm not wearing pink right now, but loves pink. Is dating a guy who's supposed to be top lawyer of his workplace, works under his grandfather's firm. She's expecting to get engaged, and it's so funny because she's dressed up like the little Playboy bunny for his Halloween little work get together. He breaks up with her because he's like, you're not serious enough, this and that. Finds out he's in a relationship with someone from the office. Turns around, she dates his boss in order to get back at him. And it's just, the relationship is so smutty, but so cute at the same time. I didn't leave a review on it, but I thought it was such a good book. It definitely gives Legally Blonde meets real life kind of like love aspect while getting revenge. It is a really good book, and this was on Kindle Unlimited. And if you want a good book to read, this is like one of my high suggestions, because I've been seeing people all over the place. I want a good holiday read, I want a smutty holiday read. 'Tis the Season for Revenge is everything you need and more. And the last book I actually finished in the month of December is The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. This is part of the Bridgerton series. If you have not watched Bridgerton, I'm kind of sad, but also if you have read the books before watching Bridgerton, I'm glad. So I'm going to say this, and a lot of people may not agree with me. I really like the Bridgerton book in comparison to the TV series. And I'm going to say this, and it's not that I think one is better than the other. I think they are both so great in their own aspect. I think the series has something that the book doesn't have. It adds in those extra factors. It has the extra drama, the things that don't happen in the book, in comparison to the book that has things that don't happen in the movies, but it just hits and pulls at the heartstrings. So I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 stars out of 5. I know a lot of people are kind of like, oh, that's really high. I love it. I like the time period piece. I like feeling drawn in, and Julia Quinn does just that. She draws you into the time period. She draws you into what's going on, and you really feel like you're in the book. And I can't help but read the books without feeling like I have an accent. So now, moving on, we're going to do a cool transition. Probably not. We're going to get into our January TBR. For January, we're just going to stick with 4 books. I'm going to try to see if maybe each month I can do 4 books a month. My goal for 2023, I want to say is, I think I put 36 books, because that'd be 3 books within 12 months is 36 books. So if I can get 48, that would be great. If I get 50, that'd be even greater. But it really depends on the time. And I'm kind of giving myself a little bit of leeway. So 36 is the baseline goal. I'd love to get above it, but the expectation is I will be moving next year. So we'll see how that goes. Book number 1. You just saw a bit of that. Book number 1 I am starting for January is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is literally all over TikTok. All over TikTok, all over Bookstagram, and so many people love it, some people hate it. I made the mistake and bought the whole series before I read the first book, but when I got it, the series was on sale for $40 instead of $96, so I got the whole series. This is going to be a fantasy genre. I'm not a huge fantasy reader, so I was like, you know what, 2023 is going to be the year we step out of our comfort zone and see if we fall in love with a new style of book. And it's a New York Times bestseller. So when 19-year-old Huntress Fire kills a wolf in the woods, a terrifying creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows about only from legends, Fire discovers that her captor is not truly a beast, but one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled her world. At least he's not a beast all the time. As she adapts into her new home, her feelings for the fairy Tamlin transform from icy hostility to a fiery passion that burns through every lie she's been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of the Fae. But something is not right in the fairy lands, as ancient, wicked shadow is growing, and Fire must find a way to stop it or doom Tamlin and his world forever. So this is going to be really interesting. I've heard some people say they don't love the first one, but they love the second, third, fourth, and all of those. So I'm excited to read this. I kind of like started reading the first few pages. I know I cheated, but I mean, we'll see how I like it. I think the cover is beautiful. I told my sister, I'm like, you love fantasy, you love things like this, so once I read this, I'm just gonna let you borrow it and see if you like it too. The next book I intend on reading, which is another series, because I feel like when I read two different series, it really helps me kind of like stay up to tune on things, is The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn. Now you're probably wondering, Natalie, where did you get these books from? These are Once Upon a Book Club's special edition Bridgerton books. I got these, and in my corner, like back here, y'all can kind of see the top of them. I got the other ones that come with the gifts to open with them, so I want to do a video on that. But I have the limited edition book. Whether or not I'm going to read it out of the limited edition book is to be determined. I probably will. I just want to be more careful with it because I'm really weird about like these special books, and the temperature has already messed it up. So if you have read the first Bridgerton book, you know Bridgerton book number 1 is about Daphne and Simon's story, and Bridgerton book number 2 is going to cover Antony's version of it. First, people call him Anthony. I call him Antony because that is what his mother calls him in the series. So I'm reading the little synopsis for my phone. It says, after spending years as one of the most notorious rakes of the time, notorious rakes, literally, quite literally, Anthony Bridgerton has decided it's time to settle down and carry on the family line. He knows love exists, but his parents were shining an example of a loving, happy marriage. Still, he has no intentions of falling in love with his intended bride. So I think it's really interesting because what we see in the TV series is like why he doesn't want to fall in love and he thinks it's time. So I'm really interested to see why, and if it's something to do with his father, his mother, if he thinks he can never fucking love. But I'm reading this. I'm super excited to start reading it, and I love the cover of these books. Look, just so beautiful. Also, if you want these books, I will have a code or have something down below so you all can have quick access to it. The last 2 books I'm reading are on my trusty Kindle. I got this case for my husband. I'm kind of wanting to put a different case and just kind of put a little bit of stickers on it. I have Kindle Unlimited, and it was probably the best thing I think I have discovered and started using in the month of December. I pay $4.99 for it right now for the first 2 months, and then I'll be paying $7.99. But I found 2 books on here that I really wanted to read. One being Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I have Verity somewhere back here. I think I actually put it up on my top shelf with like some of my romance books, and then I have Ugly Love that I want to read, one of my blue covers back there. So I was like, you know what, let's read Reminders of Him. I've already read November Night and Verity. After serving 5 years in prison for a tragic mistake, Kenna Rowan returns to the town where all went wrong, hoping to reunite with her 4-year-old daughter, but the bridges Kenna burned are proving impossible to rebuild. So I'm actually really interested to read this because I have heard people say this is literally like heart-shattering. Like it breaks their heart, and it is hard. But I'm really excited. It sounds like it's going to be a very like heart-wrenching book. We're going to see a mother try to reunite with her daughter and see how that goes. The last book I have is The Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I am literally late to the game on this, but you know, it's okay. I mean, they have the new, like, the second book coming out, so like, this is the perfect time to read this book. Bearded bad boy barber Knox prefers to live his life the way he takes his coffee, alone. Unless you count his basset hound Waylon, Knox doesn't tolerate drama, even when it comes in the form of stranded runaway bride. Naomi wasn't just running away from her wedding, she was riding to the rescue of an estranged twin to knock him out, Virginia. Around a rough around the edges town where disputes are settled the old-fashioned way, with fist and beer, usually in that order. Too bad for Naomi, her evil twin hasn't changed at all. After helping Naomi herself to Naomi's car and cash, Tina leaves her with something unexpected. Niece Naomi didn't know she had. Now she's stuck in the town with no car, no job, no plan, no home, with an 11-year-old going on 30 to take care of. There's a reason Knox doesn't do complications or high-maintenance women, especially not the romantic ones. But since Naomi's life imploded right in front of him, the least he can do is help her out of a jam. And as soon as she stops getting into new trouble, he can leave her alone and get back into his peaceful, solitary life. At least that's the plan, until the trouble turns into danger. This one has roughly like 4.27 stars. Haley Pham wrote like 2 stars, and then some people did 5, and you know, it's a mix. But I'm super excited to read this. I kind of got into the first few pages when we were down in Charleston, but I have not been reading much. I have been wanting a break because I've been super tired. That is all for my December wrap up and my TBR. I'm hoping for my birthday I can go book shopping. Maybe, we'll see. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope y'all enjoy my little bookish videos. If you want to see more, give it a like, a thumbs up, and all of the wonderful things. But I hope you guys have a great evening and keep on with your bookish lives. Bye guys.